Welcome to another windy but pretty warm week. It's 6 o'clock in the evening and I'm gonna go home now. Today I finished 2 of the 3 essays that are needed for the application for a summer school this summer that I want to go to. It is about the mathematical analysis of biological behavioral data, which sounds super interesting and very close to my topic. And I'm on a good way to also completing the 3rd essay, maybe tomorrow, which I have to because the deadline is on Thursday. So I hope that Anna will also complete my letter of recommendation that is also needed for that. Then I also attended the seminar for our 3rd internship rotation, and I'm gonna inform you about that one this week later, probably. Yes. Then after my quite sparse lunch, I instructed my undergrads a little bit more into completing my arena, and this is also pretty exciting because I think I will be finished with that we will be finished with that this week and actually get some films for data. And then finally I attended a really interesting talk about why bird eggs look the way that they do and why there are no hot air balloon shaped eggs. Oh, I forgot, I also checked out a little bit of the MATLAB code running. I guess the theme for this week's vlog is just the grind and daily struggle of reading papers, writing things, going to seminars, going to courses, teaching, and while doing all of that also trying to find some time for fun activities and being social. Of course, I forgot, doing research. Now in the remaining 40 minutes until I have to go to bed, or I want to go to bed at 9 p.m. I have to review a little bit the sort of lecture or the course that I will give tomorrow for my TA job, so that I have a bit more of a plan what I am going to tell my students and in which order. This will be then hopefully the most busy day of the week. It's Tuesday 7 in the morning and the sun is about to rise. Let this day begin. Showered, brushed my teeth and did not have breakfast because I am intermittently fasting, and I have been doing this for 10 months now, and I can only recommend it to basically anybody. I also don't do caffeine because that's what cold showers in the morning are for. And at least in the winter, riding my bike to uni without a shirt, that just really makes you awake. First TA session. 3 hours later, onward to the evolution course.
I could use a dream or a genie or a wish to go back to a place much simpler than this. Cause after all the partying and smashing and crashing, and all the glitz and the glam and the fashion, and all the pandemonium and all the madness.
It's kind of funny how we are being taught in our grad courses basically the same concept as we are going to teach, or we have taught already today on the same day to our undergrads. It's just on a different level. Another thing that's funny is the t-shirts of Bruce, our lecturer.
You a 50% chance you get a red line. Both your offspring will be
is A-roll. Just a video of you eating, only your mouth showing. That's A-roll material. This is now B-roll material because they can see your whole face. Here I go.
Can you?
across the highway zone, all the way across. FST stats.
The relationship between individual behavioral phenotype and the likelihood of being a helper.
Between the end of the seminar and the beginning of my 2nd TA session, I have about 30 minutes, so I'm really glad that I have a bike with which I can then go to my TA building.
So airplane, sorry I'm late. I'm on my way, so don't close that gate.
Heterozygote, HBAS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Then I switch my flights and I'll be right back.
Just got done with the 2nd section. It was fun, and now I'm gonna rapidly go home As yeah, my battery died, so I didn't film more of that, but it was basically. Tuesday is also the day to go grocery shopping because my local Fry's here offers 10% discount on anything if you are a student on Tuesday. So if you buy on Tuesday and you are a student. This is why I did my grocery shopping for $50 or so today, and I will always do it like that because I like to save money. Now I still have to fill out a survey for each of the presentation talks that we heard today. Checking emails for the first time of the day. That gives me a whole weekend to not finish the application. Eventually finish the application to that summer school and instead do something else that is also productive. Like applying for another grant for another meeting in the summer. Last thing I do today before I go to bed is reading 1 or 2 papers for a class tomorrow and also doing the homework for that, for the scaling in biology class. And I got a half an hour for that.
Down anything that we measure into these fundamental dimensions, right? Maybe on a deeper level, plants and animals are very similar, that there's something.
It's 2 p.m. and now I'm gonna get an SD card from the shop on the university campus because today I want to start with my first preliminary experiments, and maybe I'm even going to use that data already for, you know, the real thesis chapter or paper possibly. And yeah, therefore I need some equipment and I was just checking my mail in the building behind me on my way to the store, and I've never been there. Yeah, it looks pretty cool, and I didn't realize before that ecology and evolutionary biology department is so spread out over the campus. So we have like 4 or 5 buildings on campus that people, like work groups of us, are in. So alright, so I'm now in my experimental room where my undergrads have done a good work. So in general, I have 2 undergraduate students who are working with me in the lab. They do all the jobs that I don't have time for, so this is a great relief. So now I have fans which cool the cameras, and I have paper on the floor, which is important for the experiment. I'll tell you about that later, maybe next week, what it's going to be about. Maybe only when I have some data. So in the beginning of August in this summer, there will be the biggest conference for social insect researchers that there is in the world. This will be in Brazil, and it only happens every 4 years. So this is a really great opportunity to meet lots and lots of people who are working on ants, bees, wasps and termites, and maybe also some other social insects, but there aren't that many. This is the event that you just have to go to if you work on one of these species. Yeah, therefore you have to fly there, of course, and you have to book a hotel room. And also the conference itself is pretty costly. So Anna, my advisor, said that we should calculate with about $2,000 to $3,000. And so since we are poor PhD students, we have to apply for some travel grants. So luckily there are quite a few institutions, most of them are private, that just give you money for traveling to such conferences and other stuff. Yeah, all you have to do for that is just be a good student and write a good application for that. Yesterday I found out that I could apply to another one that wasn't on my radar. It's from the biology journal, and yeah, the deadline for this application for the money that they give is about $800 is today. So in the last hour or so I wrote an abstract for what I want to present at that conference. And now I will have to write another 500-word essay on why I desperately need that money. This is a big part of also professors, just writing proposals for grants for just getting money. Anyway, that also means that the readings and homeworks for the other courses just are a little bit lower on my priority list. Then I think in 1 or 2 weeks I will have to do all of that again for all the other opportunities that there are. Alright, here we go.
That's just how the story unfolds. You get another hand soon after you fold. And when your plans unravel in the sand, what would you wish for if you had one chance?
Even though my first class of the day is at 10, I again got up at 7 this morning just to keep the rhythm up and also to already do some reading and writing so that it's just out of the way. And now before noon and sometime later also in the day, that's when my most productive times are. So I want to use that to just get a lot of things done before this day even started. And since this always looks more or less the same, I'm just gonna cut to the afternoon where I am grading a little bit of the hand-ins that I got from my TA class. And then I read some more papers, and now I'm on my way to go to my room upstairs where I have the observation arena for the ants. Now I'm hopefully gonna start the first trial in this first experiment that will hopefully be the first chapter of my thesis. And while I was doing this, one of my undergrads was busy setting up the arena a little more. So this is where my ants are going to crawl over the place. Then I'm gonna, well, this is pretty beautiful actually. One switch. And there are fans that are cooling the cameras so that they don't overheat. And then with these 4 cameras installed here, I can then continuously monitor the movements of the ants and see how they search around. So in the first experiment that I will conduct, I am trying to look at whether the home range markings, so footsteps of the ants that they are leaving on the ground, can influence the search behavior of other ants or the same ants in general. Usually ants lay some pheromones for recruiting other individuals, but these ants, my study species, they don't do that, and instead they just leave these footsteps on the ground, and then other ants can smell them. And yeah, that might change their behavior because they know it is safe to walk there since other ants walk there, but it's also an indicator for other ants already searching the area, so there might not be any food anymore because other ants have been there. So I don't really know how that might influence their search behavior, and that's what I'm going to test in the next days. After a 2-hour course on the biology of pollinators that I always have at this hour, I am pretty tired. So in general, to the courses, some of them are just lectures, but most of them on the graduate level are just a few people, like 5 to 10 or maybe 20 people. And half of the class will be lecture and the other half will be just discussion. So you will have to read one or a few papers before that, and then be prepared for discussing what is interesting about the papers and just your thoughts. So that means that they are typically more fun than just pure lecture courses, but also a little bit more of investment. It is Friday morning, and on Friday I only have one thing for 3 hours, and that is our TA instructor will give the same lecture and lab lesson that we will give on the next Tuesday. Yeah, that gives me a lot of time to just do things, be productive on a Friday. Yeah, things like letting my bike be fixed at a bike shop, giving my undergrads a bit more instructions of how to do things in general and helping them out. Looking over the videos of the first test run in this complete setup. So yeah, today we let the ants explore, and we are going to do that tomorrow and on Sunday as well. Or they are going to do that. Yeah, then I'm going to see whether the videos all align and whether we can see the ants doing their stuff. That's cool. And yeah, the last thing I did was continue grading, because it takes about 4 or 5 hours per week to grade all these hand-ins. So in total, teaching accounts for about 13 to 16 hours per week, and officially we have to work up to like 20 hours per week, so it's still pretty okay. But anyway, after I have transferred these videos from the SD cards to the external hard drive, for which I will hopefully find a solution tomorrow, I'm going to go home and just sleep. Morning. I have planned about 10 hours of just work for Saturday and Sunday, so I know that I'm not gonna go through all of my points on my to-do list, but at least I will try. So after editing a bit of the vlog of, I don't know, a few weeks ago and Skyping with my parents and my sister, I wrote the introduction, like a short introduction to a proposal that I have to write until Monday for the third internship rotation, which as a teaser will be about the ecosystem engineering role of leaf cutting ants, but more on that next week. And yeah, now what I did was sort of conceptualize what I am trying to, or what I will analyze in the data that is given to me by actually Brian Enquist's work group, who is also on my committee. So now I still have quite a bit to do today, and I don't really feel super motivated, but at least I got still the whole Sunday to do the rest. I just love being outside when the sun rises. It really makes you appreciate life again. It's exactly what I needed in such a week. This morning I yet again worked on some proposal, and as I elaborated on in another vlog, I batch cook. So I cook once in a week for the whole week, and then I just deep freeze the portions and take them to uni or eat them at home or whatever. And yeah, this time it was some sweet India chicken with lentils and rice and stuff, and sweet potatoes. So that's just efficient, and I don't have to decide every day what I want to eat. And you know, I cycle through 3 different meals, so I always know what to do and like what to get for this next week. Bon appetit! Now back to uni, finishing grading, finishing writing the grant, and hoping that my undergrads did a good job in running my experience. This is really irritating. So you know that I bought for Sony Alpha 6300 for my experiments to film all the ants, and no hate, but I only have problems with them. So the first one is that I can't film for longer than 30 minutes at a time because of some EU regulation, even though we are not in the EU. So basically every camera that is not a camcorder has this limitation built into the software that they can't shoot for more than 30 minutes, which is okay because there is some reverse engineered app out there that circumvents that, and I have downloaded that. The other problem is that I still can't tether the cameras to the computer or to a hard drive, so I want to directly save my videos to a hard drive because it would be just way too much of a hassle, like I'm doing it right now, to save first on an SD card and then to a computer again. It just takes a long time, and yeah. However, today I found out that my settings don't get saved. So I set the video recording mode to 4K as it should be, and the next time I turned the camera on, it went back to 1080. So I don't know. And also very weird is that the videos get chopped up into 10-minute segments, around 10 minutes. I don't know, that's not a big deal, but everything of that is really weird. So yeah, that's also something that I have to deal with more than I'd like to. I just briefly locked myself out of my office because I left my key inside the office, and you know the doors, they close automatically and you can't open them from the outside. But then I called the UAPD and a friendly officer 20 minutes later opened my door. So that's a service that I couldn't dream of back in Germany. 8 o'clock in the evening, I am starting to watch Super Bowl, Even though I should just go home, and I'm not that interested in American football, but yeah, I just got done with grading and everything I wanted to do today. Almost everything. America. Game's over, and so is my week. Hope you enjoyed this vlog, and see you next week.